All right, what do we got here, Bogle?
StaleMates mug. You guys might remember I tweeted this a long time ago, or posted about it a long time ago. These new StaleMates mugs. And somebody sent us a ton of these. So we've thought for a long time, what are we going to do with all of these mugs? Like literally they sent us like 144. And they've been sitting around because we didn't know how to ship them. Plus it was like, do I sell them? Do I not sell them? Do I give them away? I know there's some people I told that they could have one. But I didn't really know how to ship them until now. I feel like I know how now. But there is a new way for you guys to get these. We are going to be releasing our Patreon, okay, for $3.99 a month. So for $3.99 a month, that's a freaking king size Snickers. That's a Gatorade or a bottle of water. You guys go to Casey's and drop $20, $15, $10. But for $3.99 a month, you can get exclusive access to StaleMates. Okay, we have all kinds of stuff coming out. We're gonna even be releasing a digital newspaper. Okay, so you'll get a digital newspaper once in a while. You'll get bonus episodes, more content. You'll get the StaleMates Street League card. That's how we're gonna release this thing. But what am I gonna do with this right now? I'm gonna give it the drop test because we don't know if this is shippable or not. So we don't know if you're gonna receive these and they're gonna be broken or not. So Tyler, give me a 3, 2, 1.
All right, and a 3, 2, 1.
All right. What do you know?
No dents.
No dents, no chips. StaleMates, baby.
Check 1, 2. Welcome back to another episode of StaleMates. It's been a while since we put out an episode. Actually, it hasn't been that long, but when you put out episodes frequently, if you take a week or so off, it seems like an eternity in the internet world. So I promise you that we are not being lazy. We're getting a lot of stuff done behind the scenes for the StaleMates Street League. We have some updates coming for you at the end of the show about that. Before we get into all of that, though, we're going to do some drama stuff, some tea stuff. That's just kind of how we got our whole thing going, was covering the drama around the sport. I'm doing a little digging, and I'm realizing that we haven't really been touching on a lot of that stuff lately because we've been focused on the StaleMates Street League and some other bigger projects that we got going on. So we're going to get back to covering the tea a little bit of the drama. If you see that I have my sunglasses on, it is not because I think that I'm cool. I'm not visually impaired. I am, the sun's not in this room. I don't have a bright light on me. I'm dealing with some allergies. I'm playing injured right now. I think, when people see me, they should really nod their heads to me and bow to me because I'm playing with an injury. I have really bad allergies. The, is it cottonwood, I think, is really high this year. Something like that. The pollen, I don't know what it is. I'm not going to take off my sunglasses, though, because I have puffy red eyes. I walked in the studio, and Tyler said, man, what's wrong with your eyes, man? And so I don't want to harm you guys visually by having naked eyes. So I got the sunglasses on. I hate people who wear sunglasses indoors. It's a pet peeve of mine. But, I got to do it, Tyler, what's new with you, man?
Oh, busy. Footwork for the wrestling card's been taking up a lot of my time outside of work.
And you just got back from Hilton Head, North Carolina?
Went to South Carolina last weekend for the long weekend. That was a blast. Got burnt to a crisp.
Yeah, you forgot your sunburn or something like that?
I was getting my base layer, and the base layer came in a little too strong.
Yeah, you Canadians burn pretty easily, huh?
Yeah, we're fair-skinned.
Yeah, fair-skinned, but that's all right. I just got back from Chicago. I put out the tweet saying, anybody new Linux? There was a lot of people. I was only there for like 48 hours, so I was trying to do some sort of content while I was there because I thought I would have more free time than I originally did. We had some nice people reach out and stuff. It just didn't work out with timing and whatnot, so I didn't get any content while I was out there. We've been working on the StaleMates Street League and stuff, and so now we're going to get back to kind of a more regular show and whatnot. But before we get into the episode, let me tell you guys about MatMan and Barbarian Apparel and Above and Beyond Wash and Seal, our 3 sponsors for our show. Barbarian Apparel has been so easy to work with. They're easy to work with if they're going to do your custom team apparel. Josh and company out there will take care of you. We actually have a promo code with them now, so if you want to, you can use that and save some money. I'm going to go ahead and try to find that really quick. But Barbarian Apparel, they can help you out. If you need help with anything, they are the best. So let me see here if I can find it. I'm pretty sure the promo code is SM10. Just 1 second here. We're going to have to edit this down a little bit. SM10. So SM10 for promo code for 10% off your order with Barbarian Apparel. They will help out your team store. That's where our team store is. And there's a link down below where you can buy our stuff, buy our merch, support us. That tells Barbarian that you like what we got going on and you like that they support us. So go check them out, Barbarian Apparel. Barbarian Wear on Twitter. That's how you can follow them and you can reach out that way as well. MatMan. Okay, MatManEdge.com. They will help you out. They are also the best. They do a little bit different stuff than Barbarian, but they're both two really good wrestling manufacturing companies. So manufacturing combat sports, apparel, and equipment since 1969. Free shipping on all orders in the U.S. You can check out their brand new uniform builder if you want to build out your team's uniforms for this upcoming wrestling season. They also have all sorts of accessories. So go check out MatMan. You can use promo code StaleMates for 10% off MatMan as well. Above and Beyond Wash and Seal, Tyler, you know this better than I do because you've spent some time with those guys, Trent and company over there. You're part of company. You worked there one day.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen how the bread's made over there.
You've seen how the bread was made. They did our floors for our studio, and Trent is a big Hawkeye wrestling fan. So if you're a Hawkeye wrestling fan, or if not, you could go there and bust his balls a little bit about the Hawks or do whatever you want. Trent's game for that. But go check them out, Above and Beyond Wash and Seal. We'll have links down below for all of our awesome sponsors. And they're going to be a part of our Stalemate Street League too, I believe. So more details on that soon. But for right now, that's what it is. All right, welcome back, Stalemates. We're back. We got a lot to get into. Like I said, we're getting back into covering the tea and whatnot. There's been a lot of tea lately. We kind of like to let it boil up a little bit, let the steam go, let the tea go, whatever. I've never actually made tea before, but we let the kettle freaking start steaming, the psst noise. And then once it's ready, we like to go, that's a terrible tea noise. I don't know. Make a tea sound.
No, that's not much better.
All right, well, anyways, let's get right into it. My name's Zach, producer Tyler in the building. This is Stalemates. We're giving you guys the tea, the scoop, whatever you want to say. Let's get straight into it. Right off the top, Rob Koll to Stanford. This is probably the biggest news of the offseason. As far as I know, there's probably not going to be a lot that's going to top that. Of course, I could be wrong. It seems like nowadays there's new crazy news every single week. But Rob Koll built Cornell from the ground up. Seemed like he was going to be there forever, like a Tom Brands at Iowa, like a Cale Sanderson at Penn State. But Rob Koll says, you know what? I'm leaving Cornell. I'm going to the West Coast. I'm going to Stanford. There was an opening there. Head coach Jason Borelli left. He went to American University. Stanford dropped their program. They brought their program back. They're swinging for the fences. They hired Rob Koll. A lot of people were wanting Ray Blake, some other names too. But they said, you know what? We hear Rob Koll's unhappy in Cornell. We're bringing him out to the West Coast. Now, I'm not going to talk about this in terms of like, do I think this is going to work out? Do I think this is a smart move? Because there's bigger people in wrestling that have already talked about this. They've already gave their opinions. Mike McMullen put out a really good article. Kind of long. I didn't read the whole thing, but I got the gist of it, I think. Breaking down that he doesn't think it's like the greatest move of all time, I think. I don't want to paraphrase, so go find that. Go to his Twitter and try to find that article and read the whole thing. But it was more like along the lines of the, I don't want to say like economics, but the logistical side of why he thinks it's not such a smooth transition from Cornell to Stanford. Willie Saylor, Matt Scout Willie, he put out a really good episode kind of detailing a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff that went on. And when you go listen to that, there was a lot of gems in that make you kind of scratch your head, and I have even more questions. So I don't know if he's went and answered some of the questions that I've had and episodes after that, but if you go check out his show on Rockfin, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But some of the questions that I have is in the episode where Willie kind of breaks down what happened behind the scenes, he was saying that Rob Koll and Cornell, they were having this friction. A lot had to do with COVID. And because we know that Cornell and the Ivy Leagues were very like, they were not playing around with the COVID. You know, they were playing it safe. A lot of the Ivy Leagues were doing that. It wasn't just Cornell, but they were definitely not loosening up their restrictions. And when we visited different schools, we could see that there was a lot of differences between conferences and schools and everything. And I don't know if it was just like regions of the country, if it was up to the schools or whatever, but Cornell wasn't playing. Rob Koll found some loopholes. He took the freestyle guys, the Spartan RTC guys or whatever that's called, and he brought them to some mall, and he opened up his own wrestling room for these guys, funded by the Spartan RTC. I don't know. But he found a loophole, a way for them to keep training, like a lot of schools did. Cornell apparently didn't like that. And this is all according to Willie Saylor on his show. So I'm just kind of reiterating some of that, and then I'm going to give my opinion. But I've learned on this show that I got to give context first because not everybody watches everything. So I'm just giving a little bit of context of what I heard through other people's shows. So Rob Koll, goes and he opens up this facility, and he says, we're going to train here since we can't train on campus and this and that. And so Cornell, I think, finds out. I don't know if it was other coaches or if it was the administration, but they apparently, allegedly, whatever you want to say, went and knocked on Rob Koll's door and said, hey, what's going on? Just kind of questioning him. I don't think Rob Koll liked that. So he says, I think I'm done. And according to Willie Saylor, he said he was going to be done whether he was going back. Like, he wasn't going back to Cornell either way. And Willie said that he was, before the whole Stanford thing happened, he said he was going to go to North Carolina, which to me is like mind-blowing, because if there's anybody that's probably on the rise and like found their head coach, it would be Coleman Scott at North Carolina. And so, yes, it's Rob Koll, and you're like, well, if it's, top 5 coach in the country, we love you, Coleman, but we can't pass up this guy wants to come here, like the spot's his. Is that what is that what happened? Is that, what happens to Coleman Scott if Rob Koll ends up going to, he said he was going to North Carolina, whatever. Apparently there's a connection with the Milwaukee Tools guy. I don't know his name off the top of my head, whoever started that, but him and Rob Koll were friends and this and that. And, he's wanted to bring him to North Carolina. And to me, it's like, if you're Coleman Scott, if you hear that episode, like, how are you feeling right now? You're doing everything that you can to get the Tar Heels to be where they're at. Just had a national champion. They have one of the top assistant coaches in the entire country, Tony Ramos. And there's rumors that Rob Koll was going to come in and take your spot. Or maybe Rob Koll was going to go in and just be an assistant. Or maybe Rob Koll was going to go in and be like some sort of RTC coach or some sort of president. There's all kinds of roles being kind of made up nowadays. So maybe Rob Koll was going to go into that. Willie didn't really explain. So maybe I'll send in a mailbag question to the Matt Scout Willie, and he can answer that for me. But I was super confused on that. Another thing that's confusing is if Rob Koll left Cornell because of the whole COVID situation and restrictions, and he was just getting annoyed of having to deal with all that, and all those other schools don't have to deal with that, and he's thinking whatever. Why would you go to another institution that's similar to Cornell? Stanford is in California. The Stanford kids last year, they were on a bus tour in the country. They couldn't go back. They were practicing, at Little Rock's facilities, like weeks after their dual meet with Little Rock, because they didn't have anywhere to go. They had to practice outside. I mean, this stuff's all documented. You can go and find all this. So I'm not breaking anything. And most of you guys probably already know that. But why would you go to another institution that's going to be super restrictive in case COVID does come back around or some other pandemic happens or something like that? So it seems to me like you're trading this hand for that hand. Now, I don't know what he's getting paid. Rob Koll said he was not getting paid the amount that Pat Mineo reported he was getting paid. He said that on like 3 different podcasts, which is kind of funny. So I don't know what's going to happen with Rob Koll at Stanford. Is it going to work out? I don't know. It's not for me to decide. I just thought it was kind of a head-scratching thing all the way around. I think a lot of people were surprised by it. Maybe he just likes Palo Alto. Maybe he just wants something warmer. You know, Ithaca is not exactly the prettiest weather all time. So I was a little bit confused by that. But I hope it works out for them. Stanford, you know, I think they're going to have a lot of success to keep this program around. They had a lot of money. I think, you know, them bringing the program back was a combination of Shane Griffith winning, all that money that was raised, the continuous fight that everybody put in to make sure that they came back. So if I'm Rob Koll and you leave Cornell, who seemingly seemed to support wrestling this whole time, and now you're going to Stanford, who just cut their program and forced their hand to raise a bunch of money to keep their program, I hope it works out. I really do. But when you look at it from all these things happening, you know, whether it's the way California handled COVID, and I'm not getting into the I'm not going to get into everything about COVID and restrictions and stuff like that, because I don't really care. Like, I'm not a political guy. I've talked about that stuff before. But if that's the reason why you left said institution, Cornell, and then you're going to go to California, I hope it works out. All right, next topic here. Kyle Bratke, longtime host of the Flow Wrestling podcast, FRL, Flow Radio Live, is leaving the ship. He's leaving FRL, and he's going to be some sort of role with West Virginia Mountaineers. I have nothing negative to say about Kyle Bratke. Whenever we covered the whole Willie trial stuff, obviously it was Flow Wrestling and Rockfin and everything else, I had people reach out and say their interactions with everybody. Not one person ever said anything negative about Bratke. I don't know him personally. I'm sure he doesn't care about us. But I think this is kind of a cool move if you're in wrestling media. And I think this is a really good nod to him. I will say this has been done before. So Josiah from Fanco, you guys may or may not know him, has 20,000 some subscribers on YouTube. We've harped about him multiple times. I've had dinner with him. I've talked to him. I've known him pretty well. He runs his YouTube channel called Fanco. It's not really a podcast. It's more just like video clips and stuff like that, him giving his takes and just kind of giving news on wrestling and whatnot. And he actually is I don't know what the term is. Can you Google it, Tyler, really quick? He is something like media, like liaison or something like that for Campbell. And they love him there. And while we were there, we got to see like how much work really goes into that. Like when I saw this role before the whole venture of StaleMates, I always thought it was just like people who just tweet for the team, like live tweet. But this is not the case, at least while we were there. And do you know the name?
Yeah, he's the social media coordinator, which Bradke's position at West Virginia is director of operations.
Okay.
Yep, director of operations.
So maybe Bratke's not even going to be doing the same thing as Josiah is.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like the same type of label, but I couldn't find any more info on his position with West Virginia.
So when he did his whole like I'm leaving thing on FRL, it sounded like he was just going to be in charge of like branding and stuff like that, which talking to Josiah, you know, back in the day when we did, that seemed kind of be like similar roles, like almost like somebody go on there and handle like day-to-day things and stuff like that. I think it's really cool. And you know, obviously Campbell has built their brand throughout the past few years. You know, Koll started it in my opinion, and then really built it up and also provided results. You know, and West Virginia, they got a new coach, Tim Flynn. So if he starts bringing in results, a guy like Bratke could really help bring in recruits and whatnot for West Virginia. Me being a huge Big 12 fan, you love to see it. I'd love to get down to West Virginia and catch a dual meet. Never been there. I like that area of the country, so would love to go check that out. But I just thought that was a cool move, especially on West Virginia's have to take a risk on a guy like Kyle Bratke, who, you know, all those Flow guys probably have a lot of connections around the country, and media people, they have to pay attention to wrestling more than anybody else. You know, a lot of coaches and athletes just kind of pay attention to their own world, as they should. They're not focused on, you know, what everybody else is doing. They're kind of focused on their own goals, their own missions. But in the media, you have to pay attention to everything. You have to pay attention to high school kids, cadet level kids, what's going on in the world wrestling, everything, college wrestling, everything. So I think this is going to be a cool move for the Mountaineers, and I wish them the best. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with FRL, though. Not a lot of familiar names on that podcast anymore. The next thing, Adam Coon. Okay, big Adam Coon fans. He goes to the Tennessee Titans now. So he is going to be playing offensive line for the Tennessee Titans. Adam Coon is like 300 pounds. Super tall. How tall is he? You have that pulled up?
Let's see here.
We'll find out. Big, tall guy, super smart, NASA, aerospace engineer.
6'5", 265 pounds.
6'5", 265. I'm sure he's going to hit 300, or if he's not already. But he's now going to be in the NFL. And a lot of times when we see these kind of articles about wrestlers, heavyweights in particular, going to the NFL, they are getting a tryout. They're getting, they're working out. They're going to be on the practice squad. Apparently, they came to terms. So he must have showed up, tried out, and they must have been impressed because now he's on the team. Now he's teammates with Julio Jones. That's just wild. One day you're Adam Coon and you're, most likely not making very much money in wrestling, trying to make the world team or the Olympic team. You don't make the Olympic team. Made the Olympic team, didn't qualify. That was a weight that wasn't qualified for the U.S. for Greco. So then your dreams are kind of, where they are. Couple weeks later, the guy goes and now he's playing for the Tennessee Titans. And one thing that cracks me up about wrestling fans, and I love it and I hate it at the same time, but when something cool like this happens, we feel like, and this could just be a Twitter thing, but we feel like we must go to war with anybody that's anti-wrestling or not even anti-wrestling. A lot of them are just hating on Adam Coon because he hasn't played football since high school, which is 2013. Shout out to the class of 2013. That's your boy. But he, this gets out on the internet, and next thing you know, everybody's just trying to fight these anonymous trolls. Let's smell the roses a little bit. Let's just focus on Adam Coon getting signed to the Titans. But props to him.
Is he still going to be an astronaut?
I don't know. I mean, that was another thing where, he wants to be an astronaut, but the guy's like 6'5",
Yeah, that could be tough to figure out logistically in space.
I'm sure that Elon Musk has it figured out. But Adam Coon, maybe he's the most interesting guy in wrestling. The last thing here, I thought this was kind of funny. This really isn't like huge wrestling news per se, but a member of Drake's crew, I don't know if it was a bodyguard or something like that, but he was caught wearing wrestling shoes. Jordan Burroughs specifically. In the streets. How do you think he got a hold of those? You think he just walked into like an ASIC outlet store?
I feel like it had to be accidental. And I don't even know if he would have known they were wrestling shoes. He was probably just like, these are comfy. They look cool. I'm going to wear these around.
I mean, wrestling shoes are comfortable, but they're really not super easy to take on and off.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm thinking if he goes and buys these shoes and he just goes and puts them on, does anything ever cross his mind hey, these are not made for day-to-day wear?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they posted that picture because Drake was wearing Air Max 97s or something like that.
It was complex sneakers.
Yeah, I feel like it got way more attention for the ASIC wrestling shoes than even those shoes itself. And I wonder if they noticed that and were just what's going on here? What's the significance of these shoes that's got everyone stirred up?
Yeah, and I don't think that guy, it's not like that guy it's not like Drake was wearing them. If Drake was wearing them, then I could see people these things flying off the shelves. That's what happened. Travis Scott wears a shoe, people go and try to buy it. Kanye wears a shoe, people try to go and buy it. Drake, a little bit. Drake's not really known to be a sneakerhead, I know, because I am one. But the fact that there is a picture out there of a man standing next to Drake and he's wearing Jordan Burroughs ASICs, that's a sight to see.
Yeah.
Maybe it will be the next wave. Wrestlers kind of started that whole socks and sweatpants thing, and now the whole jogger look has came and went a little bit.
Been seeing people wearing wrestling shoes at the gym. Wrestling shoes might just breach over into
You've seen that?
streetwear. I have seen that recently, this past week.
Or were they? Did they have cauliflower ear? Did they have other wrestling stuff on?
No, they were bigger, but they didn't look like they would be involved with the sport
at all.
Yeah, I thought it was the same thing. And we knew people growing up who would wear wrestling shoes around the house who had no involvement with the sport. They're They're comfy.
Who's that?
That was Ayler,
Dylan?
his dad.
Oh, really? I don't remember that at all. That's
he would
funny.
he would wear them around the house.
Yeah. I've seen rock stars wear them.
Really?
Have you ever seen that? Yeah.
No.
At the Iowa State Fair, there was like a guitar tech who was wearing them. But I mean, they just like rock stars wear like wild stuff. Like this is just a guy who does.
See, and that's
security.
what I wondered too. If like Drake's security guard, whoever that was just like, this is different. I'm gonna wear these.
Yeah, but his feet got to be killing. Like they're so
They
flat.
probably get hot on pavement too.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, wrestling shoes are just so like flat underneath. There's like nothing there because you're standing on a mat. You're supposed to be.
Maybe he just wants to be ready to go if something happens.
That's what people are saying. Like, man wanted some traction that day, you know. But there's drummers too. There's a lot of drummers who wear them. You know, I've seen that. I can't remember who it was. If it was Metallica, I think it was Metallica. The guy, or maybe it's Red Hot Chili Peppers. One of the drummers likes to wear wrestling shoes.
Dang, I wish we could dig into that more to know what's the thought process behind why.
A little like behind the scenes of like him choosing to buy wrestling shoes.
How does this help you drumming?
Yeah. But anyways, that's all we have for Hot Topics. I hope you guys like this episode. Keep paying attention, though, because we got some stuff coming out. I think next week, we keep saying that. We keep saying next week we got a date. I think next week we're actually going to have a date for you. You know, we've mentally prepared for this date. Just kind of up to some logistical stuff, but pay attention. I think you guys are going to like what's going on. These next few weeks are crucial for StaleMates. So please support us. Hit like. That's the thumbs up you see down below. Hit subscribe. Okay, we got to get more subscribers. We've been slow lately. And drop a comment. If you drop a comment, that tells YouTube that you are engaged with us, and that'll tell YouTube, like, hey, you should suggest these guys to more people. Shout out to the Fantasy Fight League, too. You can gamble on our card, okay, with real money. You can buy tokens, and then those tokens will help you get credits, and then you can pick wrestlers and stuff like that. You can gamble on our card with real U.S. dollars, not cryptocurrency, not Monopoly money, nothing fake, with real U.S. dollars. Go check out Fantasy Fight League as well. All right, Tyler, let's tell these people a little bit about what's going on with StaleMates Street League. So we're trying to get a venue. We've been checking off venues left and right. No, they don't want us. Yes, they want us, but they don't have the date. Yes, they want us, but they don't have internet. Yes, they want us, but they don't have air conditioning. Where are we at?
Insanely expensive.
Insanely expensive.
Yeah.
Want a percentage of ticket sales. So we're working on the venue. We think we have one, but we're gonna have to bring in internet because we don't want to have a crappy stream.
Yeah, don't want to fumble the bag.
We don't want to fumble the bag. I mean, we've talked about this with Tony. We've done videos where we go and we roast other people for, having a crappy stream, having bad internet and that. So we can't look like fools and have that happen to us.
No, we don't want it out. So we're looking into that now. And I think we have a good, solid company that's going to work with us to get the best cost-effective package for it.
Yeah, so I've been running Tyler through the dang ringer, like giving him phone calls, like call this company, call these people. We've been trying to do this and that. But some of the stuff that we've had in mind, like the first one was like a Renaissance fair, which I thought would be cool. In the background of StaleMates Street League, you could have all this castles and random buildings and stuff. Maybe people could dress up a little bit, and then in the middle is a wrestling mat. But the date that we want now, they're kind of preoccupied. And they don't have internet. And so we're thinking, like, for our first one, like, there's so many obstacles to have this thing outside. Let's bring it inside. Well, then it turns out a lot of these places don't really have good internet.
No.
Who would have thought? And so we were like, okay, well, let's try some theaters. So we had a theater. The guy, cool guy, he said that we could do it there, but the date didn't work out.
Yeah.
So we think we have a place. And good vibes this week, guys. Let us know that you're sending us some good vibes because I think it's going to work. Listen, at the end of the day, if this thing is done with a freaking handheld and we have a wrestling mat or a freaking yoga mat and we put this in the backyard or in the office here, I don't care. This thing is going to get done either way. We put it out there that it's going to get done. It's going to get done.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen before wrestling season. We want to have multiple things of this. And I think once we get past this, like, the first one will be the hardest, and then we'll kind of figure out what all we needed and what all we need or what we would do next time differently, do this time. I think next time we're just going to know so much more.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just these first couple steps, couple pieces of the puzzle to figure out have been huge, and so that's been taking up a lot of our time. And then I think after that, it's going to be pretty easy for us to start piecing this together. I think we'll have a date, like you said, within the next week.
What do you think's been the biggest challenge so far of like throwing our own card?
The venue.
The venue?
The
like
venue
what? Like
and-
what about you think?
It just has to have all the checks. So it has to have the internet, has to have capacity. That's right. The location of itself kind of matters. We want something that's going to be good and central for everybody to come to.
I mean, I'm not worried about like the atmosphere. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about like we've had a ton of wrestlers reach out to us, DM us, email us, Facebook message us saying that they want to be a part of it. Like people are ready for this. And then we have people also asking us like, who are some of the big names? Like this is not going to be big names. These are people that are very interesting people on camera, like unorthodox. This has not been done before. I promise you that in the sport of wrestling. We've taken elements of other like combat sports and other sporting events that we like, and we're going to apply it to this card. Not saying we wouldn't take big names, but at the end of the day, we can't afford to get what, Flo is paying, what some of these other, the Rockfin cards and stuff, they're paying these guys like pretty good money. We're getting guys who are, down to be nitty gritty. They're down to post videos of themselves, working out and promoting this card. Like that's what we need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think even though they're not the top tier guys, I think people will be surprised by some recognizable names. If you're in the wrestling world, you'll probably recognize some of these.
Yes, 100%. Some of them we've had on as guests. Some of them we haven't. We've got guys coming from the East Coast. We got guys coming from the South. We obviously have guys in Iowa.
Yeah, no, the card's filling up good. We've got about four matches set for sure if everything goes smooth and it plays out. And so far, it's shaping up to be a good card.
We had a DM about like why folk style over some of the other, freestyle Greco. The thing is, if we have we thought about doing like different styles, right? But most refs will only do one style. And in Iowa, it's so much easier to find a folk style ref than freestyle. Yeah. Apparently, I did not know that. That's something I learned. But it's also like confusing, I think, to fans. We want to appeal to more than just hardcore wrestling fans. We want to appeal to everybody. So I think it's easier if the rule set stays the same. It's also cheaper if we only hire like 2 folk style refs rather than like 2 folk style, 2 freestyle, that, all that, this and that. So that's kind of what our thought process was when we picked folk style. Plus, we've always been like a folk style based podcast. Like we don't cover a lot of freestyle stuff. We do the big stuff, but we mainly do like college wrestling. So folk style made the most sense.
Yes.
But I'm excited. We have to get this venue thing done. As soon as we get the venue thing done, we can start checking off a lot more stuff.
And more details will be able to be out after that. Because once we have the venue, then we'll know the date for you all. And then after that, we can start releasing stuff.
Yes. But right now, things are in motion. Every day we're working on stuff. And I've been having fun.
Yeah, it's a new challenge, so that's good. And it's a new long-term project for us.
Yes. We can't keep getting outworked by these other people. Like Ryan Warner's out there freaking making audio documentaries, probably getting nominated for Emmy Awards or ESPYs or something.
Mm-hmm.
You got Hager's Happy Hour coming back. They've been doing some cool stuff. Shots fired at Adam Fellers, by the way. You got Fanco putting out multiple videos every week. He just got himself a new studio. So StaleMates, like we're slacking a little bit, but there's a reason why. So we're trying to get our bearings going. Also with recruiting going on, they just opened up they had a dead period for a long time because of COVID. They weren't letting these coaches go and recruit these kids. So now we got coaches coming through the Midwest all the time now. So if you are a Division I coach or not even Division I, if you're JUCO, D2, D3, NAIA, whatever, we would love to have you come through the studio. We're trying to do more in-person episodes. The Zoom ones, I'm not a huge fan of. We will do them if we have to. We will do them if we need to. Sometimes it's just easier, cheaper.
Funny enough, our most viewed video now is a Zoom interview.
Yes.
So,
shout out to AJ Ferrari Sr. I actually texted him the other day. I don't know if I told you
really?
that. Yeah, I texted him and I said, congratulations. You have the #1 most watched StaleMates episode.
He said, I'm not surprised.
No, he said He said, haha, thanks. I said, you even got Tom Brand's beat, you know?
Dang.
But I think if we did Tom Brand's a second time, now knowing what I know about YouTube and stuff, I think it would be like 4 times bigger than it was.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
And that's not me like bragging or nothing. I just think I didn't do a good enough job, like knowing how YouTube worked at the time that now I do. And, you know, we could have done stuff a little differently.
Yeah. There's some tricks to it to get it pushed out there for people.
Yeah. But I like, you know, I like YouTube overall, and I think things are going pretty smoothly.
Yeah. But soon we're going to be transitioning to this Patreon.
Yes. So people, if you're listening, last time we talked about the Patreon a little bit, and we had people reach out and say, hey, I can't find you on there. I don't think it's public yet. Like the actual page isn't like public for you guys to see. But we are going to have some promo stuff for that. So if you sign up with our Patreon, you will get some free stuff right off the rip. The Patreon is also how you're going to be able to watch the Stalemate Street League. So it'll be insanely cheap, and you can cancel anytime you want. People will go and spend $12 every time they go to Casey's.
I do it every day.
You can literally get bonus Stalemates content for the price of like a king-size Reese's and like a Gatorade. That would be more expensive than what this is going to cost.
And you get more long-term value out of this than a Reese's and a Mountain Dew.
There's so many bonus content that we get when we go to these schools that we just have to like not do anything with. They sit on a hard drive.
We've got a vault. Yeah.
We've got a little bit of a vault.
Yeah.
We actually have like full episodes that are like pretty much edited and going to be put on our Patreon. So that way you guys can check out all the bonus content that we have. We're still going to do free stuff. You know, I know I've said before that wrestling fans get nickeled and dimed. This is for people who want to see more Stalemates. So our show, for the most part, will continue to be free, but we're going to have some bonus stuff that's going to be worth it for you guys. We're going to have more and more events. And if you ever come to an event, like if you have a Patreon, if you pay for our Patreon, you're going to get exclusive access. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hit subscribe, please. Turn the notifications on so you get alerts every time an episode comes out. Peace.